Welcome to actual episode 1 of the Joey Only Show here on my brand new YouTube channel. That's right. Decided to separate Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel and my political views, social commentary, world news, and things like that for a couple different reasons. Like, A, algorithms seem to be confused by the fact that I switch my content on that channel a lot. The algorithm machine likes to have things be very, very simple, very, very clear. Okay, that's fine. Algorithm friggin' machine. Secondly, though, I also have some of my own viewers who don't necessarily care for my political views, and I would to do more I bet you I could grow both things separately bigger in the long run. People have been telling me to do this for a long time. I know, Kelly, you've been telling me, Simon Hanley telling me, people have been telling me, so I'm going to start doing that right now. Okay, we're going to start with the first topic of the day, which is, it's about like how privileged we actually are here in Canada, and it's kind of a rebuttal to the separatist thing that's going on in Western Canada here, where people are like crying out, like, you know, basically Canada's broken and there's only one thing left to do, and they're talking like so dramatic as if like things are really totally fucking trashed, and they're not, you know, like life is kind of fairly much normal as it's always been in Canada. In fact, when you think about it, humans have never had it so friggin' good. How about you go back the last 3 million years of human being development and try to find a time where we could, like, I got the lights are on, it's warm in my house, I got internet going on over here, it's like I got food cooking in the oven right now, food that I had stored in a refrigeration machine. Like, we got life so good. You know how I got that stuff? As I got in a fucking vehicle and I drove to town on this long road, and I put gasoline in this thing there, and it burns the gas, and it drives the machine to town. I went to a grocery store where there's a whole store full of groceries. Yeah, they're a little bit more expensive than they used to be, but, you know, still, there's a store full of groceries. We never had it so fucking good, right? There's a lot of things we need to do to make the world better. In fact, you know, getting grocery prices down would be one of them. Sure, absolutely. You know, what's the point you're trying to make here, Joey? Things aren't absolutely broken or corrupt. It's not the worst case scenario. It's not the end times. Things are, you know, here in Canada, things are actually pretty good still. And that's why we can't buy into this MAGA crazy rhetoric of like how bad Canada is and the liberals everything and it's all about the woke. And it's like, you know, it's like I'm going to fight about that shit on this channel. I'm going to push back and I'm going to say things exactly how I feel they are. Let's get on with the show. Let's go. What I have here is a posting from a woman named Michelle Badusky, and I don't know her at all, never met her, don't know where she's from, don't know anything about her whatsoever, but I saw something she said there on the internet, and I thought it was pretty good. I shared it, but I want to keep sharing it, and I want to talk about what she said here. So I'm going to read you her friggin' thing that she made, okay? It says, I think we all need to stop for a few minutes today and check our privilege. Hey, yeah, I know some people are already like, what do you mean privilege, you know? What are you talking about, Joey? Like, come on, get off it, man. Like, I just got done saying, like, you never had it so good. You're a white guy in Canada in the 21st century. Humanity has never had it as good as you had right now. Of course, maybe there's like, you know, 25 or 50 billionaires in Canada that, you know, maybe have it too good or whatever. Sure, you know, but like, we could take them down a notch. Maybe we could all live a little better. Okay, that's more or less my politics. So she says, that means actively looking around and feeling some gratitude for the blessing in our lives, most of which we did absolutely nothing to earn. So that's right. So you're like born into this pretty privileged luxury country, and you know, you're sitting there trying to tell me that you're hard done by. You're trying to tell me that, you know, the economy's wrecked and Alberta's ruined and everything's so bad and we got to separate and we can't, you know, it's like we got to look to the Americans here. They're the ones that are going to save us now. You're telling me how bad everything is, but it's like you didn't go to Second World War. You didn't cross this country. You didn't build the Pacific Railway. Like, you have not, you know, been through the hard times of this country. You're the one living off the good times now that are showing up for Canadians. You know, we're getting a country now that's becoming more and more of a global power. We have a lot of privilege in Canada, and especially racial privilege, sexual privilege. Okay, so yes, you have a lot of privilege, and you didn't do much to earn it. Okay, so if you're born in Canada, you won the birth lottery. Full stop. And she says, and honestly, I'm exhausted by listening to fellow Canadians trash this country like it's some kind of failed state. Is Canada perfect? No, not at all. And, you know, Joey interjects and says, in fact, our economic system is entirely problematic. You know, there's a lot of problems in Canada, right? Do we have real problems that need fixing? Absolutely. Yeah, we had a lot of problems in Canada with that. And over time, I think we will fix some of those things. As the decades go on, we will continue to hopefully keep addressing them, keep fighting them, keep calling them out, keep saying this is what needs to get better. But calling Canada a third world country is wildly out of touch. I mean, they're right, man. Like, think about what a third world country is, man. Like, I grew up in the 80s, and Ethiopia had this famine going on. It was like the first thing I ever seen in the world that really made me think about how fucking crazy the world really is. Because there is millions of children dying in Ethiopia, and they're on TV, and they got UNICEF, donate 50 cents here. You can help some children not starve. There's millions of children starving, and they're all laying there bloated with fucking flies flying around them. I'm just this little kid. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I had no idea at that time that there was starving people in the world. I had no fucking idea because I was born in privileged Canada. That's not a third world country. I had no idea. And I was born poor by Canadian standards. Sure. I said before in the channel, I've said before, like, my dad was in prison growing up. I had a single mom. She built her own house on the salary of a social worker and the help of some brothers. Right? I am blood and earth, Canadian. Sure. Is Canada perfect? No. There's a lot of things I want to continue to address. I'm very critical of a lot of things. In fact, I think things can always be addressed. But is it a third world country? Like, shake your fucking heads. How good do you have it there? And a lot of these guys, like, if we got that Wrath, who's the leader there of their little maniacal movement out in Alberta. And Wrath, you know what he's saying? He's saying, we never had it so bad. And here's this guy, he's a lawyer, and he's wearing this fancy fucking suit and big cowboy hat, and he's like this big, tall, hillbilly redneck lawyer guy talking about how, communist Canada, and he's talking everybody down, he's talking everyone down, he's talking everyone down. And this is a guy who's lived off the fat of the land. He obviously comes from a rich family. He obviously comes from privilege. He's been a lawyer. He lives in money and wealth and privilege. He's got everything I never had. And this guy's sitting there telling you how bad Canada is. And while I'm saying, like, hey, we're one people. We got something to redeem here. We can work on this together. Okay, so there are people in this world living under real oppression, and that is war-torn countries. Can you think about the kids in Gaza? You think about the poverty that's going on out there, the extreme poverty, the climate disasters, the, people who are just at the whim of the weather. Suddenly they have this big drought and nobody could eat. Okay, big famines. Parents are watching their children die from preventable illnesses, tens of thousands every week, because they can't access vaccines or clean water, these things you take for granted. Things are so completely taken for granted here that we don't even think about them in Canada. And yeah, here we are. Parents are refusing free medicines to protect their kids while others walk around the world, watch their children die helplessly. I'm literally watching people complain that they make too much fucking money to qualify for a government benefit that is literally designed for low-income households. Complaining that they make too much money. I'm reading every day about how some Canadians are fighting for their freedoms, but others are, when protesters are literally being shot by their own government just hours away from our border down in Minneapolis there. They're fighting for our freedoms there. We're fine. Seriously, what the fuck, she says. I've never seen so many people look for ways to feel oppressed. Like, aren't you the victim? You little victims there, aren't you? This isn't about silencing criticism or pretending that Canada is flawless. There's a lot of flaws in Canada, and there's a lot of things to criticize. It's just about having perspective about things. It's about having some humility, folks. It's about recognizing how privileged we are to live in a country with relative safety, stability, public health care, clean drinking water, and democratic freedoms, especially at a time when much of the world is on fire, figuratively and literally. But I would like to add to this that we don't just get those things by sitting around and waiting for some rich, powerful person to give them to us, and they will be taken away if we do not fight and defend them. We can hold our government accountable, and we can still be grateful to live in the country, right? We can demand better without losing all sense of reality. We can acknowledge our frustrations without spitting on the privilege we live in every single day. Canada isn't a hellscape, but the lack of perspective here sure is. Time today to check your privilege, and to prove my point, watch the comment section here and see how many people are going to go on. They're going to be so offended. They're going to call names. They're going to tell how awful things are. They're going to say racist things. They're going to say belligerent things. They're going to say woke this, woke that. That's exactly why I want to make a brand new channel, just to fucking try to reach through some of you and de-radicalize you just a little bit and wake your goddamn heads up, okay? Have some gratitude for the world you're in, for the country you're in, for the family you have, for the people around you, for the work you have, for the vehicle you got, for the power you got. Have some goddamn gratitude, son, okay? Well, that's the Joey Only Show for today. We're going to try to grow this channel, so please hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and let's keep getting this thing towards 1,000 subs and get me on to, I don't want to be working for free for too long. Also, go over to Joey Only Caribbean Weather Dude YouTube channel and give that a subscribe. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.